All right, so we're back. I have Queen Brittany.
Hey, that's me.
All right, so this is Brittany Hart. So something really interesting is her type. It's very close to Shani's. What is your full type?
My full type is FM, SETE, play, consume, sleep, blast, number one.
All right, so
I
you basically are Shani, but you're an observer, right?
yes, yes, which is a better version of Shani.
All right, Um, so we will end up diving more into your just your type, but first, I kind of want to just like dive into you have this like vision of like this handbook thing, and you're kind of you got on a live. I mean, this is kind of how we all found out about it.
Hmm.
You did a live randomly in the Facebook group for OPS, and you just started blasting at everybody, and we all like honestly, I felt very inspired with
Good.
just kind of like the energy of like just the way you were doing it.
Mhm.
It was very confident. It was very clear. And you were really just communicating these like important kind of big things. And so like I do want to let you kind of expand on what you were talking about.
Yeah, so that's good feedback because I'm blast, so just blasting out something like that is really uncomfortable and awkward for me to do. It's like very unnatural. So I always feel like I'm just like fumbling and stumbling my way through it. And like I got off that live and I was like, that probably didn't make any sense to anybody and nobody got what I was trying to communicate at all. So but there it is. It's out there. So we'll see what happens. So that's good that, you understood what I was saying and you caught some of the vision. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So my vision for having some sort of a guide or handbook is having been in the class and learning a lot of information about the system and then getting typed. It's like it's like this climax. It leads up to okay, here's your type, and yeah, you have your
Mhm.
type, but then see you later, goodbye. Like go have your crisis and figure out life now that you have all this information. But there's not a lot of support. There's not a lot of guidance. There's not a lot of um, information out there on how to grow, how to become better, how to work through your issues and through your demon swings, and how to improve yourself and your life with information you've gained. So, like,
Mhm.
I'm a really firm believer in the fact that everything you do should have a result. And I know that's
Okay.
that's my savior's talking probably. So, but like, what's the point of having all this information if we don't have the ability to use it in a productive, beneficial way? Right? Then
Mhm.
it's just like a hobby. And like it's a cool hobby, but I feel like there's so much more benefit to be gained from ops in individuals' lives. Like it's so much more than just a hobby. So I think people need something that they can look at that is kind of it's simple, it's to the point, it's easy to understand, it's tailored to their specific typing, and it's going to help them learn how to deal with some of the pitfalls they might experience based on their type.
I hear you. I mean, it's honestly very exciting to me because I kind of like I felt the same way. Even like coming in, like I guess it was like 3.5 years ago now or something.
Hmm.
Um, Even back then, especially back then, I'll say, I got my type, and I just kind of honestly, the way I learned the system was by talking to people that had actually directly talked to David Shannon.
Hmm.
Because for some reason they were able to download that information just a little bit more exactly like how it makes sense and how it's met, right? Whereas like a lot of people that were like just watching the classes, it kind of felt like they were just kind of interpreting a lot of what Dave and Shannon were saying, and kind of like taking off the scraps on the leftover bones, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
and not really like digesting it directly. And so from talking to these people that were just understood it, like they actually understood it, I was able to like get that download. But I feel like with a lot of the people in the community today, they're like having to, and I kind of see it this way. So like, and maybe this is my functions, this is how it works for me, but like I feel like at any point in your life, you are holding onto some sort of information, like this, like a box of like information that you're going to use for something you need to do in your life right now. There's always like you don't have like a the biggest box in the world. You have to put like things that matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like when you get into OPS and you get your type, you kind of let go of, um, or I don't know if relinquish is the right word, but like you let go of some of the stuff in your box, and instead you're holding the information of your type, and you are now planning to do something with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like when in that process of letting go of what used to matter before to now holding on to OPS, I feel like there's like something else that needs to be there to support that so that you actually do something with OPS in your box because you can only put so much in that box. Let's try to make it useful.
Yes, exactly. Make it useful. Like that's the key thing that stands out to me is I think that your experience is a lot like what everybody else's experience has been is just talking to people in the community and um, especially people that have been in the community longer and learning people that have similar types as you and just kind of learning through that, I guess, that play energy. But not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to talk to everyone in the Facebook group and learn information that way. Not everybody wants to watch hundreds of videos to try to find it for themselves. So
Right, right.
shortcut, just make a shortcut, make it easy. I think that one of an idea I had in regards to doing this, and I almost don't even want to say it, like kind of makes me cringe to say it. So to take it with a grain of salt, but like I kind of am seeing something similar to like 16 personality profiles, but I I don't want to water it down too much and I don't want to make it too cookie cutter, but I also like the, the presentation of um, kind of having, here's your type, here's the different um, areas that like your type can grow in and how to grow. Um,
Hmm.
I like the format of it, but I guess I don't like the
So I
oversimplified.
want I want to interject for a second. So like kind of reminds me of like taking care of a pet.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the kind of pet you are, and this is how you take care of yourself, and this is how it looks like when it's grown, and all of that and type of information. Is that right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Like, you go out and you get a new pet and then you go buy like whatever that book is for like how to take care of cats for dummies or whatever, like that's kind of something I have in mind. Like, you know, how to be a ESFP for dummies, like how to improve your life. Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing random ideas out there. They're
That's
just
a very good title. I'm just saying because we have TEs. It's like,
right. And I know like I think another vision that I have for this project is being able to get the collaboration from the tribe because I don't have all of the knowledge and
mhm,
the experience that I need to just put something together like this completely on my own. It's an idea I've had for a while and it's a vision that I've seen and I've kind of been keeping my eyes open for something like that that's out there and I haven't come across it. So that number one drive in me is like, okay, well, like let's just do this thing, like let's just do it. But I know that
and hire people and
yeah, like well, so the way I see it is like I have a vision. I want to be like a project manager that can make sure that the vision is coming together in the way that it needs
Hmm.
to. But like imagine you're building a house. Um, I have an idea of the design and of what I want the outcome to look like. But like I'm gonna need a roofer, I'm gonna need an electrician, I'm gonna need a plumber, I'm gonna need someone to do framing. It's like there's all these different people in the
Right.
community that have talents and that have skills and that have knowledge, especially based on whatever their type is. Like there's
Hmm.
people out there whose types are just more naturally inclined to put something like this together, right? So um, that's kind of my idea is like let's all work together and put something together and create something that is for the benefit of the whole tribe. And I guess I don't really see a downside to it. You see any downsides to it?
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, if there are downsides, I am pretty sure the positives outweigh those negatives. Just because, like, I don't know, I just think that, like, moving forward and producing and creating things and just kind of leaving more for the next people to come is,
hmm hmm
it's just not, why question that? Just do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm at this like personally. I'm at this point in my life too where I I just have this like now or never mentality with everything. Like I'm 38, time is
Hmm.
running out. Like I'm not getting any younger. All of the things that I've wanted to do in my life that I haven't done, like they're not going to happen unless I do something, right? So like I don't know, I guess that's just me working on my blast a bit, but it's like now's the time.
Yeah,
If I have an idea, like now's the time. I have to do it now. Like why wait? Just do it.
yeah. No, that makes me so excited because, like, I don't know, I've just like absorbed a lot of material about, like, you have to make mistakes to do anything, you know? Like, if you need to grow, then you have to make mistakes. If you need to make money, you have to make mistakes. If you want to be happy, you have to make mistakes. And, like, there's always going to be ups and downs. Like, it's just kind of like, it should just be standard to just kind of like pre-process and accept some pain in your future ahead of time, because there has to be pain at like some point, you know? So why not just be okay with it and pick like what version of it that you're going to swallow before it even happens,
hmm
knowing an outcome that you could get from that, and let's kind of like planting the seed of the happiness that you think you deserve, but that you're leaving for yourself in the future, right?
Yeah, I love that. You have to, because like that's just the growth mindset. I think is like you have to be able to endure pain and hardship if you want to get to anything good. And I think my whole life I've been so afraid of failing at things that I just don't do things. I have a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
I have a lot of visions, I have a lot of dreams, but like it's the fear of failing and that's what stops me. And I think that's kind of a more core issue that I'm working on myself and overcoming is, this whole handbook idea, it could totally flop. It could be nothing. It could be the worst idea in ops history. Who knows? Like or it could be the greatest thing ever. I don't know. But even if it fails and it doesn't turn into anything, I just I'm learning to just chase that thing, that vision, because even if it doesn't turn into anything, like I still have something to gain from the experience and something to learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think because of how we're framing it, like no matter how you like look at it, it's a good thing, you know, and it's because we're coming from that place of understanding, right? So it's honestly like it again, it just makes me so excited, and I really want to like support you as you're doing that because it just sounds like right. You know, it's just like the right thing to be doing right now, just kind of
Mhm.
producing something and just kind of getting used to that and just kind of like, you know, acclimating to that being in the formula of what we're used to withstanding in life, because whatever you're used to, it's just what's going to keep happening. So why not get used to something that produces the thing that we just keep fantasizing about? Like, why not? Like, why
Exactly.
not dare to just do that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know. And it's like some of the things that I've had in my mind for that's caused me to hesitate and not say something about this idea sooner is because, like, I'm sure down the road at some point, Dave and Shan are going to have something like this. Like it just makes sense. Like it's the logical next step, not the next step, but maybe a few steps down the road. Like I'm sure it's coming at some point. They're going to have their own sort of, growth guidebook or coaching or something like that's going to be coming down the road. So, part of my hesitation was, well, like why bother when they're probably going to do their own thing down the road anyways. But I think for me it's like, so what if they do their own thing? Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years. Who knows how far down the road it is? But in the meantime, like, why not do something as a community that is going to be helpful for everybody?
Right.
I don't know. So
Yeah,
that's
honestly, it doesn't, it, honestly, I don't know, this is me being FI, but like, it doesn't really matter, like, what other people are doing. I feel like
yes.
if you just, like, do work that's, like, up to here, then even, that would even, like, push, like, that's even better for Dave and Shannon,
Hmm.
because that would mean that the community they work with is already here, so they can just jump to here instead of like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're doing part of the
Yeah.
entire map. Like we're part of the map,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
And like whatever they come up with is going to be awesome and it's going to be the best because they're Dave and Shannon and they created this whole system. But it's also going to be from the perspective of their types. And there's nothing wrong with that, but why not have something from other types of perspectives too? Like my perspective, your
Yeah.
perspective, anybody else who like is going to
Yes.
contribute. Like I think that the wider variety that you can have of types contributing to this, the more well-rounded and balanced it would be versus just their two types having um, kind of it being overloaded with their perspective. Does that make sense?
Yes.
A blast blast is like
No,
bleh, bleh.
that's gold.
Mm.
That's honestly gold right there. Like honestly, I mean, there's a lot of perspectives and there's always going to be, like war between perspectives and war
Mhm.
between people and sides and groups and everything in between, right? But like adding to the perspectives is just the only way that things can really like grow, right? Because like if we only had how Dave and Shannon see things now for 20 years, that would die
There would be
at
no
some
more.
point. It would die. Like it absolutely eventually would die. The only way that they can even survive is through like either their perspective evolving or other people adding theirs
Mm-hmm.
and evolving theirs through that. So we're literally part of that entire like where Dave and Shannon are going. So that's why I don't know. I just think that this is just so this is just such a big thing to me, honestly.
I think it could be really cool. I would love to get more people on board. I would love to get something really solid in motion. I have a few people interested and kind of waiting for some stragglers. And I just think it could be really great. I know there's going to be haters. I know there's going to be the haters. And I've already made my peace with that. I know there's going to be people like that are going to say it's not, technical enough or it's not accurate or, their opinion is going to be that it's not something, it's lacking something. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it because I feel like the goal is not accuracy, the goal is usefulness.
Hmm.
And if we drag our feet trying to get everything perfect and accurate and exactly the way that it should be, we're never going to actually make forward progress and put something useful out there that's going to help people. And like that's the whole goal is helping people grow. Like that is my whole, like, if there's a reason why I exist in this world, it's to help people grow. Like that's why I became a life coach. That's why I'm starting my life coaching business. Like that's the core of who I am, is help people grow and improve and get better. So like I don't understand the point of arguing over things being technically accurate when like people need help. Like people need help to get through this material. People need help to grow. So let's focus on that. And if the haters want to argue about how inaccurate it is, that's fine. They can do
Then
it.
they can do it
They can
themselves.
make
They
their own
can
thing
just
about
take
it.
over, do their own thing, whatever they want to do. Like if they want to complain about everything, whatever.
Exactly. Whatever.
Yeah, like Jesus, like they always have an issue with everything. But I don't know. It's just so great. Like you're really kickstarting something. Like people come to the system to grow, like exactly like you're saying. And not only do they come to grow, but they expect that the system itself is about growth. So like, why not just like push that? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
I find that like most people in typology in general, no matter what it is, like even Enneagram or whatever, like people want to discover something about themselves that's going to help them improve their life. So like that, I think at the heart of it, like that's what we all really want. And I feel like that's what should be the easiest material for people to find.
Right. Yeah. Like if that's easier to find than things that confuse you, then like the average person will be less confused.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I want this to be something that like, you know, it's easy enough for people to understand and to like use. I don't want it to be like a dictionary that takes so much time to figure out, and like I just want it to be simple and to the point and like very ST.
And honestly, like that's something I can really appreciate. Your lead ST. That means
Mhm.
what you're gonna do is gonna be ST. So
Mhm.
that's amazing. Like that's very useful. It's very good. Because like if I did something like that, honestly, like I have Savior NF, even though it's second, I have masculine ST third. I do still fall into like being a little bit vague.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that even the Savior NF people could probably appreciate it in some context if there's something that they can take out of it and put to use. You know,
Yeah.
so.
No, definitely. And just kind of like I just kind of want to like poke a little bit at like a little bit of the future of it in the sense of like if you're gonna make a handbook, let me ask you like some short questions. Okay.
Mhm.
So like for example, like are you thinking of like having like one broad handbook that's gonna cover like EP, IJ, IP, EJ, or are you gonna like kind of like make several handbooks for like a couple more clusters. Maybe not all like 512 or even 2048. Definitely not 2048, but like
Yeah.
like bigger clumps.
It's gonna have to be more broad because yeah, I can't make 2048 handbooks for each specific type. I'll leave that to Dave. He can figure that out.
Maybe
um,
wait. I'm sorry. I just gotta throw this. But what about 16? So people that are used to the 16 types can be confused and learn about OPS.
I did think of that, and I don't. I guess my best answer right now is I don't know,
Mhm.
and this is why I want the tribe's help because
Okay.
there's so many ways you can take this, right? Like you can make it really broad, or you can narrow it down really really specific. You know, to 2048 types. Like you can. There's so many options, and I love options,
Hmm.
but I want to find what's going to be the most beneficial in terms of usefulness. So I don't
Yeah.
think too broad is beneficial, and I don't think too narrow is beneficial. There's going to be somewhere in the middle. Um, and I honestly haven't got to where to divide things down yet. What do you think? Do you have any ideas on it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, you can go around like trying to. I mean, listen, I'm seriously like, like you could go around like going around like asking XT from everybody, but like what I've kind of learned as like my ST play third is if you do that, you're probably going to just kind of get some responses that are not fully thought through, like not fully
Mhm.
processed. And those are, in some cases, like it's still valuable, but like I just feel like if you are the like the person leading the thing, kind of trust yourself a little bit.
Mhm.
Like try to just kind of like stick to your vision and try to like just kind of already know, like just based on stuff you've already experienced and seen, and that you can even predict
Mhm.
what will just kind of be a good thing to start trying with.
Yeah, yeah, and that's honestly kind of my plan is to just follow my gut on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, like I said, if I'm doing something that somebody thinks is wrong and they have a better way to do it, make your own handbook. Go for it. Like, it's not going to do anything except add benefit and value to the tribe. So why not?
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to. I guess my next step is I want to make a group chat for everybody who's interested in contributing
Yeah.
and just start brainstorming. Like, let's just start brainstorming ideas. Like, let's throw things out there and like spaghetti against the fridge. Let's see what sticks and let's go with that. And like, let's start making the plan from there. Um,
Shanti said you can do like a survey. So maybe like we'll do our like group chat and then do a survey in the group
mm,
chat with
is there a
everybody
chat
that's
that I can see that I'm
there
like,
is.
okay,
I don't know if you see it. I have it on my right side. It's like comments.
do I have to be not on full screen? Yes, there it is. Okay. Observer problems. I don't know how to work the thing. Very inefficient. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, survey's good. I'm sure there will be quite a bit of surveying through the whole process, honestly. Um, like ideally you okay, this is ideal and this is probably not gonna happen, but like ideally you would want someone of like each um not specific like 512 type, but like someone like kind of like in each quadrant, but maybe a little more specific than that. But you're gonna want somebody with like each dominant function being different, like on the team, to be able to add like the variety and the perspective of all the types. You know what I'm saying? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
So like you want to use information that's directly from people of those types.
Yes, yes, yes. Like someone who's lead TI is going to have a very different perspective and very different input than someone who's lead TD.
Oh,
So like,
I just had an idea.
yeah,
Hold on, I'm so sorry. I do this. I
no, no, that's good. I like
shouldn't play.
ideas.
Okay, so maybe something you could do is you can gather direct examples from people of these types and put them in the book. So that
Hmm.
person that has just typed that type can look at these examples of this person's anecdote and their story
Hmm.
and even
Hmm.
with like the processing from that person and just use that and like take sentences directly from the stories, explain, 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 and they get their little guide like that.
I have a similar idea. I'm sorry. I'm pulling up my notes here on my phone where I put some stuff together like um for my ops self growth guide, some ideas. Um,
All right.
Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Action is power.
Ah,
Okay. So an
interesting.
idea: include a personal story or testimony of growth from an ops member of each type. So is that kind of similar to what you're saying?
A testimony.
story testing,
Um,
like, here's my type, here's um what I have done that's provided me the most amount of growth for the type.
no, I was thinking more like, because I mean, we have NF sleep, so I feel like the categories can kind of be like when you have this type of dilemma or this issue. This is a story that encompasses or captures the idea of this type of issue. And then like there's this type of issue and this type of issue and this type of
Mm,
issue, and these are the most common ones with their stories. And then like kind of explaining how that's tying back to the animals or the functions or any parts.
okay. Yeah, that's like some good practical, like,
NF, like that's just my
yeah,
sleep, organizing it based on like issues, like the patterns of issues and how we got to the solutions for it.
yes. Okay. I like that. I'm gonna add that to my notes. Patterns. Yeah, that's an important thing is patterns. Like patterns are gonna be really important because it doesn't matter whether you're what type you are, like you have patterns of behavior and you have to identify those patterns of behavior. And then you have to know, okay, how do I break that pattern and that cycle to do something different? So yes, that's right.
All right.
Um, you have any more questions for me on that?
Okay, another one would be like, I mean, this is a little more personal, but like the pricing of it, we'll kind of talk about that later. So,
Pricing?
yeah. I mean, we can talk about it later. Let's kind
Mm.
of make that mysterious for now.
I mean, no, I don't want to make it mysterious. Like this is what my idea is that it's going to be free. Like it's not going to cost anything.
Okay. All
So
right. Because I mean, you can also do like cheap, like $5 or something like,
yeah, yes, I
you
could.
know.
So
Yeah.
someone asked me about this before, and um, like my vision is that everybody contributes. Nobody gets no money is exchanged at all for this. It's volunteer collaboration, and it's provided free of charge to the tribe. Here you go. Here's what we made for you. Enjoy it. Um, the only way that this is for like a digital copy, I wouldn't charge for that. If there's ever a reason to print one,
Yeah.
then maybe we could talk about money. I don't see a need to print one at this point. Um,
Right. Right.
but
I mean,
honestly,
it's just an idea. Just kind of because, like, I mean, I've kind of heard around like different places of the internet. Like, it's a pretty big deal to charge a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just like enough so that you can continue doing what you're providing. You're just providing it one time. It's just kind of like, okay, well, thank you, that's great. But I feel like if what we're pushing is for the community to kind of like take that energy and kind of continue on with like the production process, we may need like just like a little bit to continue doing that. That's kind of really the idea of it.
just to like
But it doesn't have to be
production cost.
crazy. Yeah, just like I mean, even if it's the PDF, it's like $5. Just
Mhm.
something where like it's pushing you to keep producing. Because that's important as well.
I mean, I'd have to think about that. I don't my I don't want my idea to seem like it's for profit. I guess I don't want to come in here and like be like I have this idea. I'm going to create this thing, and you guys pay me money for it. I don't want it to
I
be
mean,
like that. So
technically, you're putting a lot of hours producing it. So part of the production is to figure out the like money part as well as part of it to keep it going. It's part of the blast.
hmm, I have to think more about it and like get some more feedback. I guess
Yeah,
from
yeah,
people involved and maybe
yeah.
to be discussed. We'll see.
All right. Okay, so let's see. Um, I guess now we can kind of just transition into a just a general interview. I'm gonna like try to poke at your type, try to see how it works, like how you've seen it in yourself. And also your husband has been typed, so we can also
Hmm.
talk about that as well. So
Yes.
all right. So you are Shani, but as an observer, which is very interesting. I mean, it's you have lead SE,
Yeah.
so you're a double decider. I'm being so ST like SE right now, just kind of saying facts, but like you're a double decider, which means like what you're more focused on is like getting the chaos and the control balanced in your life.
Mm. Yes.
So just to kind of start off, I'm gonna start like that. I want to look. I'm like zooming into your splits where your chaos and your control are not like working together. Like they're not helping each other out.
Okay.
So let's look at your chaos. How are you seeing like this side of your brain that's like, and I feel like even the label of chaos is a little bit limiting because it's technically OE with S, and it's like I feel like yes, chaos is a big deal, but there's even elements that are like could be like just framed or looked at in a little bit of a different light that's still true, but it's part of it. I don't know how to say that. But let's look at that side. Your SE.
So with my SE, I feel like from my perspective that as someone who's lead SE, I'm not creating chaos around me. It's more like I am constantly trying to manage chaos. And this might be because of my lifestyle, because of the fact that I have 6 kids. Like my life is chaotic. So, I mean, but I guess you could say the fact that I have 6 kids, like I created chaos, created chaos all around all the time. So of course now I'm stuck having to manage chaos all the time. But yeah, like I find that like large separation between managing the chaos and having the control, like just being, it is very challenging.
Hmm.
With because my blast is NT blast, so it's like it's like coming up with great ideas and solutions to problems and carrying them out. Like that's what NT blast is, right? So I'm really bad at doing that. And yet I have this lifestyle that's very chaotic that I'm always having to manage. Um, and if I could, I'm learning how to create more control and more structure within my life to have more balance there. So it's not just chaos in my life all the time. Because even for me being SE, like I get drained by too much chaos. That's not an introvert, but like I just get drained by too much chaos.
So let me look at something and like let me zoom in a little bit on something that you're saying. So like so essentially you're saying that you're producing chaos in
Mm-hmm.
like an unconscious way.
Mm-hmm.
It just continually is what you keep bringing into the world. And so like can you like feel like in your body, like can you feel how like this is like a human need? Like is there a way that you can sense like your brain wants SE?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, for sure. Like I've always been somebody that gets bored really easy.
Hmm.
I get bored really easy, and I need a lot of stimulation. Like
Hmm.
not physical stimulation because I'm very lazy and I like to just sit on my bed all the time, but like mental stimulation.
Hmm.
So, and maybe that's from being ST, like having the SEMTE at the top. It's like I need to have my brain doing something all the time.
Hmm.
It's so hard for me to just sit and be still and quiet and like I hate watching TV. Like even watching TV makes me bored.
Oh, wow.
Like I
Even
need to be
TV.
like process. I need to be like mentally processing something.
Yeah.
Does that make
Well, I
sense?
relate to that. I haven't watched like when I say I haven't watched TV since I was 13, I mean like I have not like myself walked to a TV to turn it on to use it since I was
Yes,
13.
I never turn on the TV ever. I very much dislike
Wow.
watching TV. It's like I get bored. I get bored watching TV. No, I can
Oh.
scroll Facebook and I can talk to people on Facebook, and
Hmm.
that entertains me. That keeps me preoccupied. But yeah, and
Because
then
you can keep moving, right?
yeah, mentally I can. Yeah,
Oh.
mentally I can. I don't. Okay, so let me give an example of like comparing this to my husband because he's the exact opposite of me. He's upside down version of me. So
Wow. Yeah.
he's blast first and he's NT blast first. He's NITE. He is constantly moving. He's like the Energizer bunny that doesn't stop moving. He's always doing something. Physically, he's moving his body. He's building something. He's working on something. Like he's doing projects. He almost never sits down and is still, except in the evening when we get in bed in our bedroom and he turns on the TV and like that's his quiet time where he just zones out. But I'm the opposite. Like I don't physically move and do a lot of things, but like I'm more still physically, but my
Hmm.
brain is like it's always doing something. It's always thinking. It's always talking to somebody. It's always like I'm working in my brain, if that makes sense. And he's
Hmm.
working physically.
Hmm.
So how I've learned, how I've identified this is like being blast is just like it's like taking action. It's like doing a lot of things, and he'll have an idea and then he'll just get up and go do it like right then. And I'm the opposite. Like I like to sit and I like to think and I like to process and I like to research, and I don't know if that has something to do with sleep in the middle for me, but um, I am
Hmm.
I'm somebody that always likes to have my brain active. Otherwise, I get bored.
Hmm. I see. Okay, this is a weird analogy I'm getting. But you know how like those people that they throw a knife and it hits the wooden target?
Yeah.
So like like the knife is like spinning and then it hits it.
hmm
I feel like for us we're like just spinning and then we're like, no, I don't want to hit it yet. I'm just gonna keep spinning.
Yes.
And but we don't just hit it, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's like a lot of spinning your wheels, but not actually having a lot of results.
Yeah, exactly. The
It sucks.
results.
It sucks. It's like, because I can watch my husband just like get it. He'd just be like, I have an idea. And he just gets up and does the idea. And I'm like,
Hit it.
he just hits it.
Yeah.
But then I freak out because I'm like, there's so much information you don't know. Like, don't you
Right.
need to learn, like, okay, is this the right kind of knife to be throwing? Like, if you want to hit your target, like, what are the
Hmm.
right techniques that you need to know to throw the knife properly so that it hits the target? He doesn't even think about that. He just throws it.
Well, we can think of it this way. Like maybe he throws 30 knives and he hits four targets, but you are throwing four knives and hitting all four.
I would hope. If I'm not hitting all four, I would be very disappointed with myself. My number one talking though.
So our goal is to try to just throw more, just do it.
Mhm.
It's gonna work, especially if like you believe it. If you have that NF behind it, like you believe it, it's
Yes, a
just
conviction.
something will happen eventually.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, I guess in a more like sensory way, I I still keep myself pretty busy in terms of like I'm not somebody that can just like sit at home for the weekend and not do anything. Like I'm
Hmm.
gonna get really antsy and restless, and I'm gonna be like, let's go do something. Like let's go to dinner. Like let's go to the park. Like let's go to Walmart and like buy something. Like I don't know. Like we just need to get out of the house and do something. Like I will get really antsy just sitting around for too long. But if I am sitting, like the wheels are always going. If that makes sense.
Hmm. I
So there's
get you.
no rest.
I
There's no
know
sleep.
what you mean. I feel similar. It's like even though we're blast last, we're thinking of blasting while we're not blasting.
Yes, yes. It's like, and sometimes I tire myself out with thinking about blasting, but not actually doing it. And then I'm like, I don't even have the energy to do the blast anymore. Like I just tired myself out thinking about it. It's over.
I know, right? Yeah, I think it's because we have like masculine TE,
Hmm.
so it's like it's hard to. Honestly, this is something I kind of wanted to bring up, but like feminine FI,
Mm.
it's a pretty big deal because like we have it double activated, but it feels like I feel like even for me with it as a savior, I have reasons for all my feelings. Like
Mm.
every feeling has a reason. Like I know why I like something. It's because there's this force of a reason somewhere. It's like in some corner that is causing that feeling. Um, there's no feeling that's not caused by a reason.
Mm.
Um, so like for you with Savior TE,
Mhm.
double activated feminine F5,
Mhm.
um, like do you feel like your FI is constantly getting like smushed by your TE?
Mm. My, my first reaction is to say no because
Hmm.
I feel like my FI is pretty strong.
Hmm.
But I will say that I can think of numerous times when I have squashed my FI because my TE is like, well, no, this is what's best for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but anytime I do that, it's a very like awful feeling. It's like I want to vomit. It's like a very icky feeling. So let me say this. 5 years ago, I would have not even known what was in my FI. Like
Oh, really?
a lot of the growth that I've done, I feel like has strengthened my FI.
Hmm.
So I almost feel like it's flopped now. Like I lean more into my FI than my TE. It's like my
Okay.
FI is like punching back at the TE. It's like, no, no, bro. Like who cares if everybody wants to do this? Like this is what you want. Like you're gonna do it. So it's almost flip flopped now.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing for you, Demon
I
FI.
mean, yes, it
That's a
is a
good
good
thing.
thing, but I feel like it's maybe not a good thing for the people around me. They don't always seem so happy about that. And that's where I
I
get
feel
caught.
like
Oh, I'm gonna
I,
do what I want, but then the people around me don't like it, and then it's like, ooh, I don't know.
yeah, but like at the same time, like if you have done that for them a lot, then it's
Mhm.
just the same thing, just you're on the other side of it.
Yeah. I think a way that I've seen my masculine TE kind of grow up in a sense is it's it's getting more bold about speaking my FI. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So, maybe before my FI was like little tiny baby and it was afraid and didn't want to say, my TE would be like, no, you can't say how you really feel about this. Um,
Hmm.
but now it's like as my FI has grown and gotten stronger, now it's allowed my masculine TE to speak more boldly the truth that I see or that I feel.
Yeah.
So I can I can be a lot more blunt and direct and to the point and honest
Hmm.
than I was before. And I even had a friend tell me this recently, like, I've seen you just have like this boldness and saying what's on your mind and how you feel and what you think in a way like you've never done before. And that
Hmm.
was that was reassuring to me that, I am growing my FI, but then it's like the masculine TE pushes it out harder, if
That's
that makes sense.
great. I mean, I've kind of thought about that before. Like, I feel like even for me, even for me with Savior FI, I have to use the TE to kind of like, how do I say this? Even I struggle a little bit with not feeling like a person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I am. I don't like. I don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
What I see is the impacts or the way that I move things in the outer world. That's kind of like what I see. Like that's just what I am. But I can't really see me directly. I can't. Um, so I feel like we need to accept like this is part of our growth. Maybe this will get into the handbook or something, but like this is part of the growth for feminine FI. Like we need to believe that we exist and that we matter and that somebody needs to fight for us and we need to use masculine TE to make sure that the tribe knows how to do that.
Yes.
Because if they don't know how to do that, if they don't even know what that looks like, if they don't know what masculine TE is, if there's no masculine TE, then no feminine FI can exist. But you matter. You are a person, you know?
Yes.
So
Yeah, I feel that like to my core because I realized that I couldn't use my masculine TE to help other people be fought for or to learn to fight for themselves until I do
mhm,
it for myself first.
exactly.
Yeah, so and I think that's maybe part of the struggle with like feminine FIs. It's like hard to see yourself as a person. It's hard to see
Hmm.
yourself as like taking form. It's like
Yeah,
this vapor that just doesn't really exist in reality, and it takes intentionality to like give it shape. But then once you give it shape, then you can fight for it and fight with it and help others fight for themselves, and
yeah.
it's a journey. It's a rough journey with feminine
It
FI.
really is. We're almost like a fucking body of water. Like we
So much like water. Yes. Just
just
flowing
have.
in. Yes.
I see it. I don't know if you've obviously been in a pool where you see like the when the sun hits the waves and you see the reflection on the bottom.
Hmm.
I feel like that's kind of like our feelings. Like it's just like there's just so many waves you can identify with so many different
Yeah.
things, and so it's kind of like if that's your identity, then when people like when it's time for you to be a person in the world, people are just kind of like, oh well, it's been 5 seconds, you haven't said anything, and they just kind of like just get rid of you. It's like no,
Hmm.
like that shouldn't matter. Like that should not mean that we don't get to like have our turn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder how different it is for masculine FI. Like, are they the ones that are like punching everybody over the head with what they want?
They're more like I think of it like a tsunami. Like instead of the water where you're just seeing a bunch of waves, it's more like it's just like a tsunami. It's just going where it's gonna go.
Like you can't hide from it. It's just gonna slap you upside the face, whether you want it
It's
or not.
just going in one direction. It's not changing.
Yeah, yeah.
David Goggins, he's a tsunami. Like
He really is. Isn't he the same type as me?
he's sleep last and he's double feminine.
Okay. Yeah, I it honestly took me some time to really come to terms with being masculine TE
Hmm.
because I never saw myself as being like pushing against the tribe,
Hmm.
having that masculine energy um,
Yeah,
internally, because I always felt like I was just a doormat for everybody. So it
I
was
feel
like
that. Yeah.
masculine TE instead of like feminine TE. So that's taking me some time to kind of reconcile and see that in myself.
I feel like even double masculines are feminine. Like everybody's feminine. Everybody's fucking feminine. Like nobody is not like part feminine, part masculine. Everybody is. So like when they say that you're masculine TE, it just means that that's just how your pattern is. Like it's just, like we have more of a like when we're communicating with the DI, that's when we're communicating feminine deciding. It's like, okay, well, I have good intentions, and if you don't want this, I can just change. It's fine. I'm not going to hurt you. Like, I'm not going to be a tsunami. I'm not coming to get you.
Hmm.
With the DI, it's like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to hurt you. I can change if you don't want this, but I'm offering to fix your solution.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna really fix it. So yeah,
Yeah, and I guess that masculine TE comes down to like I'm gonna fix it. You know,
yeah.
even if it's a demon, like for you, it's like
Hmm.
I you can still put yourself backwards in a sense to be able to put a solution to the problem forward.
That's the tsunami. It's the TE for us.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that I'm definitely one of those giving unsolicited advice and
Hmm.
solutions to people type of person, and I think that's
Yeah.
masculine TE.
I
Like,
like
what
it.
you need to do to fix this problem? Like, I have the answer right now. Like, just listen to what I'm saying.
I love it because so many people just don't. They just don't say anything at all.
They don't,
And
and like so many
I
people
rather
don't
say too
have the
much.
answer. So many people don't have the. It's just like, okay, I just have to say something. I learned this in when I was doing my life coaching certification. Something that they taught us in the classes we did was, as a coach, you guide people towards their own answer. Like, you're not supposed to just jump in and say, okay, here's your problem and here's how you need to fix the problem. Like, here's the solution. Like, you're supposed to help guide them to that solution on their own. You're not just supposed to be giving advice.
That's feminine blast.
I was like, I cannot do that. Like, you don't understand. Like, I can see their problem and I can see the answer and the solution. I would be doing the wrong thing to not tell them, here's the answer that you're looking for, or at least
You're fine.
consider.
You are fine. There's different types of people in the world, and some people prefer somebody that's direct and that's blunt.
That is
Some
true.
people do. They want that shit. They will specifically look for you, actually.
Yes. So I've decided that even though my instructor told me not to do that, I'm still doing it because it's just the way that I am, and it's the kind of coach that I'm going to be. And if you don't like it, you can find a different coach. But if you want
Yes.
results and you want solutions,
Uh-huh.
I will be your person.
Yeah. That's so good. That is so good.
Do you do that though with masculinity demon?
Of course.
Okay, all right.
I think I do it more. Like, I mean, it's more like more and less. Like, it's like in my default savior state, my TE is like kind of off. Like, I'm not using it. I'm not really saying much. I'm just kind of taking care of myself, doing my thing. And
Hmm.
then somebody's having like a problem next to me, and I'm just like, oh, damn it. Like, I have to attend to that.
Yes.
And I could feel my body like the sword is like getting ready. It's gonna strike. And then like I just kind of sense like, okay, well, what's the problem here? Okay, that's the problem. Address it. Do you know this is the problem? That's the problem. Let's fix the problem. You know this is the problem. I've told you this is the problem. I'm right here. I'm
Yeah.
watching you. Like fix the problem. Like it's that kind of thing. Like I'm just making sure that it gets taken care of. And um, yeah, when it's on, it's really bad because like I can't. Um,
Like you
I
can't.
don't mind it too much. Like, listen, like I have a third. It's not fourth. It's not like I'm like disgusted by TE. It's just like it's hard to turn it on. And I know I have to do it, and I'm always like planning. Like it's in my day. I'm double deciding. It's not like I'm forgetting it completely. It's just like it's hard to um, have the sword completely sharp all the time and use it all the time. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
I'm sure for you it's the other way, where like it's hard to um, maybe step away. Is that true?
Probably.
Hmm.
Probably. I think I come across more assertive with
Hmm.
that than I feel like I am. So I would think, no, I can shut it down when I need to, but I would think that the feedback from the tribe would be that I don't shut it down as easily or as quickly as I should.
How about in comparison to your husband? Because he has it as well.
He does. This is where we butt heads. This is where
Okay.
we butt heads. Is this one thing that we're the same on? Masculine TE. It's like, and then,
How do you do it different?
uh, um, okay, how we do it different is, hmm, hmm, I do okay. Let me tell you, and then you tell me like what you think. Give me your feedback. So when we both give unsolicited advice to people, I feel like he does it in a more pushy way.
Mm.
Like because he's an IJ, he's almost like more controlling in the way that he delivers his masculine TE. Almost like this is the way that you should do it, and if you don't do it, you're stupid. Like he
Hmm.
has that vibe about him, and I don't know why that, based on his type, like why it's that way. Whereas like with me, I feel like I delivered the masculine TE in a more soft way.
Hmm.
Like, this is what I really think is the best solution to this problem. And if I was you, this is what I would do. And there might be another way that works better for you. But from where I'm sitting, like, this is what I think is the best solution for you. And take it or leave it. That's
Hmm.
that's more my approach to it. Whereas he's just like, this is the way you're supposed to do it. Are you stupid? You know, like
Hmm.
like it's just a different sort of like
Yeah. So
delivery.
that's basically the reason that's happening is because he's demon play, and he's also savior OI, and it's double activated OI. So blast is one direction.
Yes, it is very one directional. I'm like, there's
It's
a
one
thousand
directional,
places to go. You should
and then
probably.
he's demon play. So he's like, why didn't you think of this? Like even I thought of this, and I didn't want to think of this. Like it
Hmm,
should be. It's so easy because I don't even want to do it, and I'm doing it. You see that? So
yeah.
that's kind of what demon play feels like. So it's like a little sassy. Uh,
Yes, he
um,
does this. He says that all the time. Like I'm doing it. Why can't you do it? If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm
exactly.
like, that is not true at all. Like you are 100% a different person than me. I cannot do what you do. Oh, and he just does not understand that concept. Like does
So
not
you
understand.
have, in comparison, your lead play.
Yeah.
Your lead play, like you completely understand. There's so many different ways to look at something and different perspectives, and it's double directional. Like you're open to the feedback back to adjust your advice and all of that.
Yeah, that's true. That might really be a big part of it is the demon play and the savior play. Um, where we like run into trouble though, like in our relationship, is with the feminine FI demon.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's like sometimes I look back and I laugh at how ridiculous and stupid we are because like neither one of us wants to take the risk to just like say how we feel and what we really want. And so it just leads to this like buildup of neither of us saying what we really need. Like, hey, babe, I just really need you to like turn off the TV and just like give me attention tonight. Like, turn off the phone, turn off the TV. Like, just let's just talk. Like, let's just hang out, just you and me. Like, I don't say that when I need him to do that, and then I get grumpy and resentful about it. And he does the same thing on the flip side. Like he doesn't say what he really wants from me and what he really needs from me and how he really feels. And then he gets grumpy and resentful about it and then just creates like this big chasm. And so that's something like we've been really trying to work on is like, okay, even though my FI has like gotten a lot stronger, it still takes a certain amount of vulnerability to share with my partner how I really feel and what I really need. And so that's something like we're both trying to work on improving in ourselves. And that's something Ops has helped both of us see because once he was typed and Dave sent him his audio, like it started to click for him. He started to see kind of the pattern, and like the system and the types. And so I think he took it a little more seriously. So now when I tell him things like, you need to work on your FI in this situation, like he gets it and he kind of tries. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it's harder for him to do his FI than it is for me because mine's double activated. Um,
Hmm. And second slot.
yeah, and so like on silly things like where are we gonna go eat for dinner? Like he's the one that's like, oh, I don't know, whatever you want. Like where do you want to eat? And I always want Mexican, so I'm always gonna say we're gonna get Mexican. And, like I'm excited and like I have a taco tattoo on my hand. That's how much I love Mexican food. And like I'm like, let's there. Like we're going to Mexican. We're getting tacos and margaritas. And then like after so many times, he'll be like, why do we never get to pick where I want to go? Like we always go where you want. And every time I ask you where do you want to go, and he never
Yeah.
says. So like I think it's harder for. So I've started saying, I'm not even going to tell you where I want to eat. You decide where we're going to eat. I'm not telling you anything. Like it's 100% on you to decide where we're going to eat. And he's like, oh, I hate this. I hate doing this. I'm like, no, you're doing it.
That must be a lot of like tension because like you're both DE,
Yeah.
so he knows your states when you're saying that, and it might hurt. And it's probably like, damn, I should have figured it out, but I couldn't because I'm consumed last.
Mm,
So maybe he just didn't mean to get you in that position.
that's interesting. I never thought of that.
That's how it looks to me because I know you
Can you
both
explain
feel the
that a little
same.
bit more?
Wait, what?
Can you explain it a little bit more in depth?
Okay, so like since he's consumed last, you're both stayed your DE, Demon F5. So like when you're saying like, oh well, I'm just gonna let you figure it out from now on. He probably is able to read your state,
Mm,
like when you're saying that, and it probably hurts like emotionally. So he's probably like a little upset with himself that he can't do the consume, but it's last, so he's probably like frustrated. And
yeah.
he didn't mean to like put you in that position.
Maybe that could be it because he does not like it when I do that. But I'm like, you know what? You're gonna grow your FI, so you're gonna do it. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna make a decision right now. You're probably the meanest wife in the world. Nobody would want to be married to me,
I wonder how blasters take it, like when somebody else blasted them.
right? Yeah, I guess because I kind of am blasting him a little bit.
Actually, I think I've kind of figured out that I think my sister is Gabby Hanna. So Gabby Hanna is MF, SeTe, play blast, consume sleep. So
Hmm.
blast second, consume third, and EP. So it's like the weakest blast you can have as a savior. But I noticed with my sister that when I start to blast with her, she stops listening. It's like she's been blasting at me for like 40 minutes, and then as soon as my blast turns on, she stops consuming. Like she'll take a little bit, and she's like, "Okay, well, I know that what you're saying is important," and she'll try to like consume sleep it, but she cannot do consume sleep for so long, so she starts. like rejecting the consume.
Yes, he definitely does that.
Oh
He
my
I
god.
won't, and I because I try to, they say we cure demons more easily around the people we're familiar with, like in our family. So I think I probably blast more to him than anybody else, and he really doesn't like it. He really doesn't.
Wow.
He's like, stop telling me what to do. You're always trying to tell me what to do.
Interesting.
It's like,
Huh.
I know what you need to do. Okay.
Interesting. You know how like everybody has a sleep. Like everybody sees themselves as introverted because their identity is sleep.
Hmm.
Everybody's identity is sleep. So I feel like even IJs have their like consume where they see themselves as the consumer. It's just in a demon state when they see themselves as that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting hearing you are able to witness that in him.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think part of the reason too, when I blast, it's like I'm blasting my saviors. That makes sense.
Really?
So it's like I'm blasting at him to like do more consume. Like here's the consume that you should have done, idiot. And he's like, but then it's like that's his demon. He doesn't want to hear about it. Like he doesn't want to be like poked in that because he doesn't care about it because it's his demon. Like he doesn't know how to do the consume. So it's like I'm like blasting my saviors at him, but they're his demons. So he's just like, no, no, don't do that. But then it's on the flip side, it's the same way. He blasts his savior. Wait, no, he blasts his saviors at me, and it's really annoying because they're my demons.
So
Yeah,
it's like double doing it.
yeah, yeah. I know. Like I was so mad at him when we started our business because we were going to get an LLC, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to look up all the information. I'm going to learn how to do this whole process and like what we need to avoid, what we need to do. Like, and it was like a few days gone by, and he was like, "Have you done it yet? Have you filed it?" No, I'm still learning all the things. And he was like, just do it. And I was like, I can't do it. And this punk went out, and he just did it himself. He just went out and he got the LLC by himself and didn't even tell me he was doing it. And I was like, what? Like, there's probably so much missing information that like like I had a meltdown.
Right.
Like, no, but you didn't do the consume. You don't know what you're doing. What if you did something wrong? He was just like, it's fine, it's done. Like we finished it. We like checked the box off. We're good. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's how blast is. Like I said, they throw 30 darts and four hit, but you throw four and three hit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it turned out fine. Like he didn't do anything wrong, so it was good. But it just gave me anxiety, and it was giving him anxiety that I wasn't just doing it. That's before we
Hmm,
knew about it. So,
interesting.
oh yes, Brian, I have my crown. I wasn't gonna do a queen interview without a crown, okay? And my champagne. 'Cause every good queen has champagne in a crystal glass. Duh.
All right. So let's see. So what else is like a thing in
And my
the
lethal guard cat. Yes,
So
he's.
something I've been interested in. Oh yeah, you have like a cat literally. I've been thinking of it as if it's like on your shoulder.
I wish he would sit on my shoulder.
I can't see that close, but so yeah, something that's interesting to me is that
Hmm.
your third animal is a double demon.
A double demon?
A double demon. Your third animal is sleep, but your first animal is play.
Mm.
So like and the reason it's like interesting to me, I mean, it's not really that like it's not like a surprising like crazy thing, but like for me it's interesting because my last animal is my double demon, not my
Mm.
third.
Okay,
So
what do
it's a
you mean by
little bit.
double demon? Explain that. Because it's FI in both?
Oh, because your lead animals play, so
Mm-hmm.
your saviors are SC and TE. Your sleep is NI and FI, so it's both of your demons,
Mm-hmm.
and you have it third, not last.
Mm.
So you're using it throughout the day, but it's like it's not, it has no savior function in it, but you're still using it throughout the day.
Hmm.
So it's
I
like,
thought it was
okay,
my savior function. I don't know why. Like, well, I do know why, but we'll get to that. Ask your
Yeah.
question. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Yeah, no, I like basically, I mean, it's just kind of like how do you um when you do sleep, does it feel like more uncomfortable than your blast because it has both demon functions?
Um, well, like I said, I thought I was a savior in that for a long time. So I think that because it is maybe because it's a double demon, it's like stronger. It feels stronger to me. It feels more like a savior function than a demon function. Does that make sense?
Interesting. So what about it feels like a savior to you? Like what is like does it feel comfortable? Like what are you using to like place it there?
Um, okay, so it doesn't feel comfortable, but it's like it's always there and I'm always aware of it, but it's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like the story of the princess and the pea, and there's the little pea under like 100 mattresses, and she can still feel it, and it's still irritating her. That's that's what my NF sleep feels like.
Interesting. So it's irritating.
Yes, it's like it's always there. I always know it's there, and I try to like stack things on top of it so I can ignore it, so I don't have to deal with it. But it's still it's still always there. I can still always. Um,
Oh.
I and I we talked about this the other day in like our chat. Like I said, how when I was young, I would just and I still do this kind of embarrassing, but I still do. I go like hide in the closet or in the shower and I cry. I go somewhere by myself and I cry and I let my emotions out in a very private space
Mhm.
because um, I don't want other people to witness that. It's like something very private and very like vulnerable and meaningful for me to have that emotional expression. But because it's so uncomfortable for me to do that, I try to ignore it. It's like I try to ignore that emotional expression as long as I can. So like I'm stacking things, I don't know, my saviors on top to try to not
Interesting.
have that emotional outburst, but like it still ends up coming. But it's always in private. Like people don't know. My husband never even knows.
Yeah. Just want to quickly dispel this in the chat. She's her type is FM, SCTE, play, consume, sleep third, blast last.
Hmm.
So she's like Shannon, but with observer. She's Shannon, but as an observer. So yeah, that's interesting. Like yeah, like having the like almost like a tidal wave of like finally expressing how you actually feel. But it's very private because it is a demon. It has both demon functions. So it's like it's very vulnerable when you're
It
doing
is. So I have to like go in private and like have my moment, and then I can get to the TE of like now I can communicate with the tribe how I feel in a calm, rational manner. But like first, I have to have my freak out in my closet, my existential crisis. But I think another way that I feel like it's always there, like less on the FI side and more on the NI side, is with like seeing like meaning and patterns and like significance in everything. Like I don't know how to give an example that would like make sense. How do you make NI make sense? That's the hardest thing to do. Like, how do you make NI make sense? I
Like
don't know.
let me, I can help you here. So like it's kind of like a thread that kind of goes through different understandings of emotional states or themes, and
Yes.
it just encompasses what's happening to you.
Yes. So, okay, I thought of an example, and this might sound kind of wacky, but it's just me. But um, it's like so I'm Christian. I have a very strong like spiritual connection to God, and I journal a lot. I take a lot of notes when I have um, my prayer time and my Bible time. And if I look, it's like I can look back over. I was doing this yesterday because of New Year's, and I was looking back over 2023, and I was writing down things that were significant to me about that year. Um, and as I was doing that, it's like I could see all these different puzzle pieces that it was like God had told me this thing and then this thing. And it was like all these puzzle pieces that had been floating around, like coming together and creating the picture. And it's like, I just think that's how my NF sleep is like always there. It's like I can take something and say, like this thing happened and then it means something significant in reality. And it's like a puzzle piece that I take and I'm like piecing together like the NI into the SE. If that makes sense. And creating a puzzle out of it, carrying a
Yeah,
picture out of all the puzzle pieces.
I get you. Like a yeah, you're like puzzling your emotions.
Yes, but it's also not necessarily emotions. It can be emotions, but it can also just be like just pure NI of like, okay, like I have heard this same Bible verse over and over in the last few days. And so, like, I'm going to latch onto that and I'm going to say that means something significant. Like, God is trying to tell me something by hearing this verse over and over and over. And it's like my NI latches onto that and then it takes it into SE realm and it makes it relevant. It's like a pattern that I see that, I don't have an emotional connection to it, but it's something significant that I latch onto.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, like there's like meaningful ideas
Yeah.
that just kind of keep you or act as like a north star for
Yes.
your emotional world.
Yes, yes, it's like it is. It's like something is always like guiding me forward to this North Star, so to speak, but it's like I'm taking things that I see that are like that mean something. It's like a map. It's like like I will think like I'm going down the path to this place and I'll think of a birch tree and then around the next corner there's a birch tree and then I know that's my sign that I need to go on this path because I was thinking of a birch tree and now it's there and that's my sign and it's like everything has like a I don't know like just very NF meaning to it.
Yeah.
Am I losing you in all this crazy NF
No,
talk?
no, I get you. Of course, I get you. I'm Savior FI and an F and everything.
That's true. You get it, yeah. So it's like always there too, but it's less intense than the emotional component of it with like the FI because that's the crying in the closet nonsense.
I get you. Yeah. I mean, even I have to like cry in private too. I think it's just a feminine FI thing.
Maybe.
Um, we just don't have a shield
and
by itself.
and maybe a number one thing.
Maybe.
Like we have to protect our image in a sense.
Yeah, like I don't like to get emotional with people. I don't even like to dance with people because I feel like my emotions would like show in my dancing or my moves or what I decide. Like you can see how I feel in my decisions. So I try to make my decisions look as cold as possible so you can't figure out anything about me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes. And I would say that's an Enneagram 8 thing, but that's also a number one thing because
Mhm.
I need to control how much of you, or I mean, how much of me you get.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna like
Yeah.
throw myself out there for everybody. That's
I
too much.
mean, you are a nine wing eight, which is attachment with rejection. So you're like using both, like attachment with the rejection. It kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like image management. They say when you're attachment and rejection together, you're very good at negotiating and compromising and like
Yeah,
making like
sure.
deals.
Yeah,
So I could see that like applied to like image stuff too.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm very good at making deals.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. So being a number one, so you do own a Demon Blast number one group chat.
I own it. Yes.
You're the queen of it.
Yes. That makes me happy.
So, and that's also a pretty big deal too. Like that's it's getting pretty big. At least for us that are in it.
Mhm.
For us, we seem to really use it to process and like make use of our type and kind of like use these puzzle pieces to just kind of formulate at least for now, it's a mindset that's actually useful. Um, right? I don't know if you agree, but
I definitely agree. And that's one of the reasons that I love our group chat, because even though we're all different types, like the thing we have in common is being number one, but also Demon Blast number one, which I think is a totally different breed of number one than Blast Savior number ones.
oh yeah.
So like there's just a like no offense to you or anyone else in our group chat, but like I kind of see like our Demon Blast number one group as like the misfits of the number ones. Like we're the island of misfit toys over here. Like we don't really fit in great with all the other number ones, but here we are. Like I don't know. There's just a certain camaraderie from having that experience of, because I would you agree that it's like painful to be a number one but blast last?
I definitely feel like we're the black sheep of the number one family.
You know, yes. It's like I see the other number ones, like that post I made about Candace, what's her name? Owens.
Candace Owens.
Yes. And like I see other number ones out there just like being amazing. And I'm just I'm a number one, but I'm not amazing. What's wrong with me? And
Well,
it's
okay, here's the thing though. Okay, so like when we're saying like amazing, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but this might be it, but like the sleep last and consume last number ones are known as having shark energy. They're sharks.
hmm,
We're not sharks because we have
no,
last last. We're like we get to the top by like alone.
yeah, alone, very much alone. Yes, and yeah, there's nothing about me that would be shark energy at all. Like, and I see those people, like I see those ones, and I'm just like, I do not relate to you at all. Not the kind of one that I am. So that's one of the reasons I love our little group, is because you guys make me feel like I fit in somewhere. Because I don't fit in with the other number ones, and I don't fit in with the other social types. They don't get it.
That's interesting. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. This is because I have like demon play blast, so I kind of have my blast and play touching. But I
Hmm.
feel like I was supposed to be like Candace Owens.
Yes, I feel that way too. I was supposed to be like that. Something went very wrong. There was a short circuit somewhere. Something fried. Missing the
I'm
food.
like, oh my god, like I'm useless. Like, what am I doing?
I know, but it's like Only us number ones would feel like such shit about feeling useless. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
It's like,
that is
is
true.
there any other social type that would feel like the worst, the lowest of the low, the worst of the worst by not feeling like they're useful and they're not like living up to their potential? I don't think so. Like, do twos feel that way maybe with responsibility at the top?
So twos are more. This kind of stuck with me. Dave like kind of framed it this way, but like twos are like the superhero friends. Like
Mhm.
everybody has like some superhero responsibility, some high position in a job, but like they're not like nobody's the number one. Everybody's just working together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Extremely busy. Knows like slowing down to specialize.
But do number twos not feel bad about themselves if they're not doing all the things?
They do. They do beat themselves up a lot. I've heard.
Yeah, because my husband's a number two, and he beats himself up in a similar way that I do. But
I think it's more like they beat themselves up by like taking on too many things.
mm,
It's like, no, I should be taking on another responsibility. And it's like, no, I don't have time to do my own thing.
yeah, I do have to tell him like, stop doing all these things. Like you need to say no sometimes. He doesn't like that. Like I don't have a problem saying no. I can say no. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. It's easy. Like, but he can't. He's just like he has this obligation to like do everything that's asked of him, and I don't relate to that. And that's what makes him feel bad is when he feels like he's not doing all the things he feels obligated to,
Hmm.
then he feels like a loser. I don't feel like a loser if I'm not doing all the things that other people are obligating me to. It's more, and we had this conversation recently. He didn't understand it. Like, I have standards that are up here for myself. And if I am not meeting my own standards, I feel like shit. I don't care if everybody else thinks I should be doing more or less or whatever. Who cares? It's like these are my standards and I'm not meeting them. Then I feel like crap.
Hmm.
This is kind of the opposite. Like everybody thinks I should be doing this and I am only doing this and I suck. And if I say no to not doing more, then I can't get up here where everybody thinks I should be. And it's just like it's got to be friends versus flex right there. I think.
So there's this thing about the animal order that represents each social type that I kind of disagree with. Um, Dave and Shannon have like currently associated flex with sleep, friends with play, responsibility with consume, and specialize with blast. I think that number ones are best represented by sleep and blast as saviors, and then play and consume as demons with consume last. Because we're just kind of like we have this sense of like a super high standard, and we have to like produce it into the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then like we don't really take in much criticism with demon play, and then demon consume is like our vision has stayed the same forever and we haven't really like taken in. I feel like at least for me, I feel like if I accept the current reality, then my emotions will never fantasize enough for me to give birth to the seed that's going to be the future that holds the standard that I'm okay with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to be a little delusional. That's the only way.
Yeah.
So we have to be like social consume last. I think that's how I'm seeing it, at least.
Yeah, that's kind of true. And I told that to someone recently. I said, being a number one, it's like the only way that I can live with myself is to be a little bit delusional. If I'm if I'm not delusional, like I'm not ever going to even attempt to do these
Yeah.
crazy things that I might not ever actually be able to accomplish. Like Am I a little delusional trying to like do a self-growth guide for ops? Yes, I'm definitely a little delusional trying to do that. I understand that. Like I understand like probably everybody out there is like, wow, this chick is delusional. She's popping out of nowhere. She's like not been here very long and she just wants to like create a handbook. Like, wow, who's crazy? Like I understand that. Like but I'm embracing being delusional because if I don't, I can't live with myself for not taking the chances and doing the things that I'll probably regret later on for not doing.
I get you. Yeah, it almost feels like we need to accomplish something that keeps people wondering how did they do that?
Yeah,
I need people to not know how I did what I did. All right? You feel like that too?
sometimes. In certain things, yes. Like,
Hmm.
well, let me say this. Default is yes. I don't want people to know how I did things. But I feel like growth mindset me is like I need to bring people in to understand how to do the things and to do the things with me. Like this handbook, it's like it doesn't maybe seem like a big step of growth, but like for me it is because like I'm blasting, I'm having to use my blast, and I'm having to use my demon friends by bringing a team in to do things with me instead of just do it by myself silently. Like doing things silently by myself and people being like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" Like that's my default. So like having to bring people in is like doing my demon friends. That's not usable for me. But yeah, like having 6 kids and a business that I run and a farm, like people are always like, "How do you do all the things? You're like Superwoman." Like I hear that all the time, and it's like I can't tell you how I do it. Like that's a secret. All that matters is that you think I look like Superwoman, so we're good, right? I don't want people to like know how I do it. It's just part of how I am, right? Like
We're kind of like the master of illusions. Like we use illusions to push ourselves. We use illusions to be number one. Like we're always like
yeah, that's true. But I guess maybe like once you figure something out, you do the thing, like then can you tell people like, hey, I did this thing. Here's how you do it, and then you like take people along with you.
it makes the impossible possible.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yes.
That's how I see it. I mean, like originally when Dave and Shannon first released the social types, the number ones were painted as like bad guys almost, which was kind of badass. I will say I kind of liked it. But now we're kind of seeing a different side. Like it's been a year since there's been social types, and the side that we're kind of seeing is like number ones are actually very giving,
Hmm.
and we really like to offer the world something incredible. It's almost like saying, "Thank you, world. You've allowed me to be here, and I did as much as was possible with my existence."
Yes. Yes. As that's something that I really feel pretty strongly about is breaking some of the stereotype around ones being like this villain, this like selfish villain character. Um, because that's not how ones all ones are. Some ones are that way. But like when I was typed as a one, it was like I'm not. I'm not like that. I'm not one of those people. Like you got this all wrong. Like and it didn't make sense for a while. But then when I started to see it and like Dave explained it, it's like there's just so much stereotype that needs to be broken off of ones being like big selfish assholes. Because there are a lot of ones that are giving and want to give back. And like, I always love when they talk about Mr. Beast being a one and how, he's like, he's got to the top, but he's very kind, he's very giving, and he makes a positive difference for the people around him. And like, I feel like at its at its core, like a healthy one is somebody who wants to leave a positive impact on the world. So for me, I've always felt like I had to prove that I deserved to exist in the world. And if I'm going to prove that, then part of proving that is going to be bringing something valuable to the world. So, like, if I'm not leaving a positive impact around me, like, what's the point of existing in my opinion?
Right. So maybe even like your framing existence. Um, I almost feel like it's like we have like each social type has a different assumption about why we exist, right?
Hmm, probably,
Something
probably.
like that. Hmm.
I could see how like twos maybe kind of might think that they exist to serve others.
To just kind of keep everything going, keep time running.
Yeah, like they're doing all the things for everybody to keep things going smoothly for the benefit of everybody. I don't know. To me, that seems like a very like servant attitude,
Yeah.
and I don't have that attitude. I'm not here to serve people,
Hmm.
but I'm here to make an impact on people. Like I'm here because I have a dream and a mission that I'm supposed to fulfill that is going to leave a legacy that's going to impact people. That's why I'm here. It's not a servant posture, but I kind of see that in some of the twos.
There's this idea that like each person is like when you talk your perspective, like you are the one like speaking for the world.
Hmm.
Like other people feel exactly the same. Like you're human. There's people that are like so similar to you. So like when you're speaking the world through you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like speaking for the people, kind of.
Kind of like for example, like when I examine a carbon atom, I am like representing or speaking for all carbon atoms because they're all made the same. So learning about this carbon atom is not different than learning about another one.
Hmm.
It's like when you're speaking for yourself, other people are learning about themselves because you're speaking for like everybody else that's similar to you.
Yes. Yes. Like I'm the queen. I'm
Like
speaking
you're the
for the
queen.
people.
All right. So like in using that analogy, it's like as number ones, like we're all like even through using OPS, like it's the same thing. It's like we're all able to, and this is kind of like the beautiful thing about how like the just the day and age that we live with all this technology. It's like we're able to kind of skip a lot of the stages of learning about ourselves because we're all able to communicate and
Mhm.
kind of give answers that would have taken somebody else like 20 years. So, um, yeah, I find that very interesting. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, for some reason, that made me think of like the need for more like sleep energy and just like self reflection,
Right.
right? Because like if we're always consuming something or speaking with other people and we're not doing enough of the self reflection, like how can we grow? And I know that's like So, like, what is that like being save your sleep then? Because for me, I'm demon sleep, so like I have to be intentional about doing that.
So save your sleep as an ESFP basically feels like, I mean, I just use my fourth function, so I feel like my demon and I corrupts my sleep a little bit, especially being feminine sleep. The combination's not, I can look like sleep third or demon sleep. Just because like I'll come to a conclusion and then I'll just kind of change it and then I'll keep changing it. And then by that point, I don't have a conclusion. And then I have to find another. And then I find the same one again. And then like a week later, I'm like, okay, well, I'm back like to the same exact thing I was processing before.
Mm,
And like, it's not that like I'm not trying to be difficult. Okay. Like, if you were my therapist, like, you would have a very hard time just hearing the same thing over and over again because I'm like over processing the same thing and not actually getting a grip on like how I'm ultimately going to feel about it because I can ultimately feel about it a million different ways. Like
mhm.
there's not just one ultimate way to feel about anything. My conclusion could lead to like jumping off a building, or my conclusion could lead to like building an empire, or like becoming a king, or
Yeah.
let me think of something more practical. Just like like changing my life. Like
Mhm.
trying to. I could end up deciding to go to the gym 6 days a week and pushing very hard and like studying like crazy and working like crazy and
Mm,
just becoming some great thing. Like my conclusion can go in so many places. And so like it's just more based on, and this is just my answer with my demons, but I just have to really leverage the masculine ST
mhm.
and really just kind of like bully myself into like like just do what makes sense. Just literally do what makes sense and stop being confused. Like just do what makes sense. And stop like feeling the same thing over and over again. And you're still going to just wake up and like even on the way to the path that you've created to build your empire, you're still going to feel things that
Mhm.
are going to be against your path. But the ultimate thing is like the thing that's going to keep you on that path is really just like understanding. And this again, this is just me, but like, what do I believe?
Yeah.
Do I believe NF? Stuff I can't prove, stuff that just kind of. I would like to believe that. I would like to believe that if I did nothing, just because I feel significant, that I'm just going to be significant. I would like to believe that. I would like to believe that like I have this like mission or this purpose or these things that my brain really wants to believe, right? But even though I want to believe that, and even though, there's just like, like premise that's like, if you feel it, then it will be because you'll make it, right? Like something like that.
Mhm.
Even though that could be true, the only way that's true is if you make it. The only thing actually making what you feel true is that you did it. So it's kind of like I've just kind of learned to lock into. I mean I was a spiritual person for 10 years. I was like an NF hippie person for 10 years. I literally had like these beliefs. Um, I just believed in like the whole vibrations and your feelings are just gonna tell you the future. And like if you're just tapped into the vibrations, you'll just make the right choice. And it looked a little OCD-ish because I was like kind of like, if I'm gonna pick this like literal item versus that item, this one feels more right, so I'm gonna pick that one. I look very OCD-ish.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was just picking like that, like stuff like just felt better versus something else. And then I got to a point, and this is because I had a family member in the hospital, and they weren't doing very good with like schizophrenia, and just kind of like falling into that NF stuff where they'll just kind of like believe that like magic existed, and it's like this other world of like vibrations, and like, and technically if you frame everything that way, you can look at everything that way, and from those angles you're looking at truth just within the associations. Like there will be truth within the associations that you make, because it's aspects within what you're looking at, and the world is what you're looking at. But what you're doing is you're cutting off most of the world by doing that. By being stuck in your beliefs, you have made the world a shoebox. Like it's just this small, like, all I see is what I want to believe, and I've made arguments and like borders around what I want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the world. And it feels comfortable because your feelings are just like relative. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
pain is basically the distance between where you are now and where you want to be. That's just creating the pain. So
Mm-hmm.
similarly, your comfort is just, do I think I'm close to where I want to be? That's just your comfort, right? So if you live in a shoebox, you're never that far away from where you want to be. So you're always going to feel comfortable. You're always going to stay in that shoebox. And so as soon as you remove that shoebox, you finally just have to just be very just ST, at least for me. I just had to really like what makes sense, like just what makes sense, and that's really it
So it's like the ST vibe that you have is like a maybe something you've had to grow into and work towards.
for me.
Right.
I'm sure somebody else that's demon and F, it'll be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be, well, let me build a shoebox for once because the world's probably bullying me and it's too much. Like maybe it works like that.
Yeah. Like so for me having like ST Savior and NF Demon, it's like it's a very like even split, you know, if that kind of makes sense. And so
Yeah.
between like Savior and Demon. So I find for me that like it can be really challenging to swing back and forth between those two extremes and to like what's reality, what is the world and how does the world work and what's real versus like nothing is real and like there is no reality, like reality is fake,
Yeah.
like these swings between those two different states.
I'm
um
sorry. I want to zoom in a little bit. When you say reality is fake, can you like get a little bit more into the psychology and how you feel that?
so hmm, this is gonna be hard because that it's hard to put my NF into words, like into like ST words. But sometimes there can be this like crack in reality where it's like the curtain is pulled back and this like 3D ST world that we live in, I don't see that anymore. I see beyond that into something that's just like this whole 3D world we live in is an illusion. Like there's other dimensions of of, of reality, but it's not the reality we live in. It's like it's something else that's farther beyond what we experience in like a very
Beyond.
world. There's like something. but behind the curtain, like behind the fabric of
So
reality. There's something back
what
there.
is
I see it and I feel it sometimes. And then I'm like, wow, the world that I have lived in has just been like this little tiny like pillbox. I'm an ant in a pillbox and I'm just literally running circles. And like there's this whole other world out there that I feel and see sometimes. And then it makes like the little stupid reality that I've been living in seem like meaningless.
interesting? So that's interesting because they do compare NF to like a narrative. It's like a worldview, like a narrative, like a story, and it's like it uses feeling to paint that story. Like it's not just like narrating like how to build a bike, like it's more
Yeah,
like a
very like practical.
yeah. So like it sounds like yeah, definitely. I mean, you are talking about your NF, so just kind of putting that context there. Um, so what do you think that curtain is?
Like, what do I actually think it is?
Yeah.
Or what? Is there an answer? Okay, I'll tell you. I will use my FI and I'll tell you what I actually think it is. I think that there is a whole spiritual realm behind our physical reality that exists. And sometimes I can feel it or see it or sense it more. And then that just puts the physical reality that I live in perspective, in a completely different perspective. But like, I truly believe that there there is a tear in the fabric of reality that sometimes you do connect with and see and experience a spiritual realm, a non-physical realm outside of our own realm. That I do. That's what I think.
Okay.
In Ox
Interesting.
terms, I don't know how to explain that.
No, I get you.
I'm
I
just
totally.
going from my NF to my ST back and forth, maybe.
Yeah, it's like hmm. So what do you think is, I'm sorry, I'm a hippie, so I have to do this, but like but what do you think the purpose is of the um of the curtain? Like obviously we have it, we see the world through like a more ST lens, regardless of your type, we feel the same physical things. Um and we're limited by the ST laws, like literally laws of physics.
Physical laws. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
why do you think what are we gaining from this curtain?
I would think it's some sort of protection for us. I don't know if we could live in a physical ST world and be able to also coexist and be a part of the NF realm that's behind the curtain. Like, I don't know if we can coexist in both. And I don't know if it's, like if we have physical ST bodies, but there's a whole spiritual world that we can't see or even comprehend, then we can't even exist in that world. So I think it's more for protection. But I don't know if
Hmm.
we can handle it.
No, I totally get that. Like it's like essentially the protection of um I don't know, like okay, so obviously there's the idea of the um there's the experiencer and there's the observer.
Hmm.
So the experiencer is your body, but something's observing your body, right?
Hmm.
Um, so do you think that like if we didn't have a body and we were just like purely observing with no like emotions, no direction, it's just purely just witnessing, like do you think that we would still have a self-interest, or would it just kind of be like a there's like a more like broader sense of self that is the interest instead that we're all kind of sharing? Like, does that kind of sounds right to you?
I mean, kind of like um, I think that like if we didn't have a physical body, then all that would exist of us would just be like our soul, our essence, like our spiritual essence that's not in physical form. So I think without the like the physical body, there would be less of a
There would be I'm sorry. Let me see if this like yeah, I'm gonna throw this in here, but like like we would have nothing to guide and nothing could guide us. But how does that like turn your gears?
I guess I don't understand the question.
Like, okay, so like through the guiding process of both being the person guided and the person guiding, that is the experience.
Hmm.
Um, do you think that that's like, I just kind of want to see what your masculine TE does, but like, do you think that's why we have a body? It's just to be able to do that. Like, do you think there's other reasons that I
Oh, to
haven't thought of?
have experience. Is that the reason we have bodies? Is just to experience the
Yeah.
world and the things that we can experience within it?
Like, do you think that's right? Like, I'm looking for like a pushback.
Um, no, no, I don't think that's what it is.
Okay. So what do you think it is?
So my perspective is based on like a biblical perspective, and I think that I don't know if I could get into the why of why we're here, in terms of like why do we exist in a physical body in a world where we can experience like all of the ST things. Um, I don't know if I could say like why we exist in that form versus existing in like a purely spiritual type of form. But I I think there's like an NF meaning and significance to everything that exists in the ST world. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Like everything that exists in the ST actual physical reality is it has some
Right.
sort of deeper significant meaning for
Okay.
why it exists.
So deeper to what? Like what is it deepening into?
Significance, purpose.
Purpose for?
Um, for I think everything exists for the purpose of pointing back to God, to the Creator.
Okay.
Like I don't think anything is accidental here in the physical realm.
So, do you think the creator is okay? Let me do this. So like when I had said that there's an experiencer and an observer,
Hmm.
do you think that the creator is like the observer to how we are the experiencer and an observer of ourselves?
Yes,
Hmm.
I think the creator is the observer. You said observer, right? Not absorber.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, observer. Like we're watching ourselves have an experience. Like we're watching our body experience things.
Mm-hmm.
So then the creator is watching us.
Well, she has experience.
Yeah. And we're like its body. Like, would that be true?
I have often wondered that. I've had that thought before that it's, and we talked about this a little in the group chat, like the, what if we're all just a part of God? Like we are something that God created, He made, the Creator made us, but we're also a part of Him in terms of like we're a cell in His existence. Like we're just one small piece, but we exist within a larger expression of who God is.
Something I've heard before is that we are God, but we're having a dream that we're not.
I've heard that too. I don't agree with that, but I've heard of that.
What do you think about that?
I don't. The reason I don't agree with that is because I believe that God exists to be worshipped, and we don't exist to worship ourselves. And if
Okay.
we are God, then we should be worshiping ourselves.
Okay.
I think there
'Cause
has to be something above us that we have to worship.
something that comes to my mind is like if we were like I don't know, like a single perspective. Um like yeah, a single perspective. So like and this is kind of just like general math, but like in order for a perspective to survive, it needs to have a world in order to have a perspective. You can't be a perspective until you're in a world. What are you perspectiving about if nothing else exists, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it had to split and experience itself from like different angles
Mm-hmm.
to even generate existence to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like what my mind goes to.
You know,
Um,
that's an interesting concept that I could
yeah.
get behind.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I do think that there is a certain aspect of like God had to split into something and make himself into something smaller. Like he had to create different pieces of himself in a more real world way. Like, because I've often had this thought, like, okay, like I believe God created the world, He created everything in it, and the universe, but like, why? Like, why? Why would God create that? Right? Why would God create? Like, He's existed forever. He's always existed. Like, why would He create a physical? And He exists in a spiritual realm, right? Like in another reality, another dimension that we're not part of. Why would He create our universe and our Earth in this dimension, in this reality, when it's so very different from what He exists in? But I don't know why. Like I don't have any.
I got
definitive
you.
answers for that, but like it's things I've thought about.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to think about, and but I do think that like there are expressions of like God Himself within what He's created. So like in a sense, like you said, like Him splitting off. Like if you look at it from that perspective, I can see some merit in that. I guess I can agree with some of that.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of get you because, like, at least for us as humans, our logic is not gonna fall very far from the apple tree of being a human. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, our emotions have causes. So what is the cause of God's emotions to create us? You know what I mean? It's like trying to see, like, you know,
But it's like
using.
in some ways, it's like I think God doesn't even have the same like He probably doesn't even have like there's no
Right.
emotional, logical reason or perspective that we can even necessarily even relate to or understand. You know,
So it's like we can't know.
you
Like
can't
we
know.
can try,
No, you can
but
try, but you
it's
know.
gonna be a projection.
Yeah, in some ways there is a lot of having to project to understand because like our human brain wants to make sense of things within the reality that we live in. So if we can't make sense of certain things and it can't be proven in reality, then there is a lot of projection that has to be made of.
Something that I think of a lot is just within the like my brain is constantly like downloading just the frame of understanding humans, and then based on that frame, what does this say? Like I try to challenge it with some kind of logic. So like for example, like based on how we think that like okay, based on knowing that we are projecting a lot when we are trying to understand like what is creating us, what are we likely to believe, knowing that like just knowing how we work
Mm-hmm.
mentally. You know what I mean? So then I try to like yes, like okay, well something very likely for us to believe would be blank 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 except blank 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 blank. I try to fill in the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and by
And
the way, if you
there's
don't feel comfortable at any point with this, definitely let me know. I'm so sorry if I've made you uncomfortable.
no, I think it's interesting,
Okay.
and because I mean, I think there are things that like there's so many ways you can look at it. There's so many perspectives that you can fill in the blank with. You can fill in the blank with anything, really. So it can be, and I think that's why so many people like have so many different types of religion or spirituality or beliefs in certain things about how we got here, why we exist, or what's beyond our existence. It's like we can come up with so many things, right? So um, I personally am not somebody that's like, so just pick one and go with it. Like I don't think that. I think there is like truth. I think there is absolute truth within what I believe, but that's my belief. And what I think though is like at, at the end of the day, if what I believe is not true at all, and something is completely off about it, like I at least will feel, I guess, like I lived believing in something and that it brought good to my life. So like I can't go wrong with it. That makes sense.
Yeah, like it's better to have had that belief than not, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like um, I have nothing to lose.
Yeah, as long as it has a utility or adds and it's not harmful, right?
Yeah. So like I try to live in this world as if this isn't the only reality that I have to experience, but that there's something about me that will exist forever long after I'm out of this physical reality. So I guess my mindset is very long term in terms of what I do right now doesn't just affect me right now, but it can have a long term impact even past my existence in this world.
Interesting. I like that a lot. Like that just that right there is like very important to me. Like I if there was one value I could push on the world, it would be that. Like just making sure people care about their impact on the generations after them.
Yeah.
It would just be that.
And it's probably like a really number one value to have, I would imagine. But I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, if having Savior FI for you affects that at all. Like, does it intensify that, or like, does it? I guess, like, do you value it more than like
Um,
PE number one? You know?
Stuff that I value is very TE. I value caring about the impact I have on future generations. So big.
Hmm.
That is so big. Like I'm always thinking about being a responsible person, like just somebody that is not fooling around, you know. Um, Let me see. Um, Honestly, like I've gone through a lot of pain in my life, and that has like really shaped a lot of my values. Like I just want to
Hmm.
make sure nobody else goes through the same thing. I don't want to see other people in like that much pain. Like just seeing like I don't know. One of the things that I cry about a lot is when I see videos of like homeless people getting fed or being given money, stuff like that. Like I just really have a very empathetic FI.
Hmm.
There's just stuff that has affected me and my values that I've found through going through all that emotion. The value I found is that I want to make sure other people don't have that, that they don't go through that. You
Yes.
know, I feel like there's emotions, they're different. Values and emotions are different. You go through emotions to discover values. The same way that you go through logic to discover what you think.
Hmm.
You see, like you have to go through it and then you find the decision. So for me, the emotions I went through were just very like, I mean, I didn't feel like the biggest thing was I just didn't feel like a person. I felt like I was literally in hell, and being an observer, I literally questioned if I was in hell. I'm like, is this hell? Like, am I just like suffering through a life that's like it's similar to what I had before, but it's just not the same. And it's just designed to torture me, stuff like that. So like going through those types of emotions, the values I found were just very like there's just so much emphasis on like just giving back to other people through preventing the things that hurt me.
Yes. And again, I think that's a very number one way to deal with the pain and the hardship that you've experienced, because I relate to that, and I have a strong conviction that I like that's my purpose in life is I've had I've had to be here in this world and go through all of the painful experiences that I've gone through, because I now have something valuable to provide to help other people going through those same experiences. And what good would it be if I just existed here without learning those lessons and going through that pain so that I could help provide value and meaning and hope to people who are in those same situations?
I hear you. I feel like even as I feel like okay, this is fucking but everybody's a four, right? Even once we're fours too, in the sense that like we want everybody else to be a one too. Like like we're just the like what we think everybody should be is just different.
Yeah.
Like we still want to like project our world and recreate or give birth to more of the same because there's an answer and that's the motivation and the reason why we're even doing that, right? Because it worked for us, so it could work. Like we're projecting that it could work for somebody else, and
Hmm.
that's why we like build a world or a vision
Yeah.
because it's an answer. That world is a seed. So
I can understand why people think we're the most delusional thing. But again, like, I would rather be delusional and feel like I'm making some sort of an impact than to not be delusional and be doing nothing significant.
yeah, I like it. I personally like it. I don't know. It seems seems
Probably
pretty fun.
all the non ones are probably laughing at us right now. That's okay. But
For me, it just kind of feels like the whole package. Like it's the whole thing. Like you get to be delusional. You get to be also objective and try to set objective goals, and
mm,
you get to push really hard. But you also get to not believe in a lot of the bullshit everybody else believes. So
we're the complete package.
feels like a complete package to me. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm not. I'm also not like I'm not against other social types at all. I think that they're
Yeah.
all just different, and I feel like it like at some point somebody needs to address that difference. I'm not trying to ignore that there is a difference between social types. There is a difference between social types, and somebody needs to address that because it is something like at least in myself, like I've definitely struggled with like threes, for example. They have flex, they have demon friends,
Hmm.
but they just do things quite different,
Hmm.
and it does lead to like a there is like a rift between us in either communication or like emotionally or just
Hmm.
something that like could be addressed and I'm not saying like it's just some like big issue, but like everybody feels like if I'm feeling that, back to the example with examining the carbon atom, and that's the same as many other carbon atoms. Like all of them are going to be the same. I mean, there's like small differences, little like structural differences, but there's only so many, and there's like we're all like almost the same. So like when I'm saying that, if I feel like that, that means you like a lot of other people feel the same. So yeah.
I really look forward to when they like start to expand and fine tune, and not expand, maybe narrow down is a better word. The social types, like, and get more specific about subtypes within each social type and like how each social type interacts with other social types. Like, I feel like there's more room for growth and more information on that. So I know it's coming. It's a matter of time, but I'm looking forward to like having more understanding of the social types in that way.
All right. Well, I think that's a good way to wrap up this interview. So
We've been chatting for quite a minute.
we have a lot of my interviews are like this.
Just go on and
should
on. I
have
know.
been more should have been
That's,
more vocal about that, but that's how it is. Okay. All
I've
right.
had
Well,
fun chatting with you. Thanks for like letting me hop on and steal my crazy delusional when it's not there.
it's really great. Thank you so much for just being so open and just like really like sharing um, just the true depth of how you experience your type and a lot of these ideas surrounding it. So
For sure.
thank you.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Cheers, Danny.
All right. Let me cheers. Okay. All right. All right. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.